under shelter, that we're looked after. Like, we believe in God, right? And he said, yeah, I believe in God. I said, and look at the backing or the backup that you have. Like, he has investment properties, and he's an older gentleman. So he has, like, I'm an old gentleman, but he's an older gentleman than me. He has some superannuation and maybe some, what do you call it, that stuff that you have at the end of 10 years, long service leave. He's got a lot of stuff that can help him. So he's worried about this lady, but she should be worried about him. But you see how things like that destabilize us and make us not know what to do. But acting in a way, like I said, and I really like this, strength with self-control, like taking time to think about it, looking for another way, will help me not do the wrong thing, not look silly. Could you imagine having 18 or 20 years in a company and then having this lady make you lose your cool? Wouldn't be good, right? Like, let's say this guy's name is, I'm not going to say his name, Jim, right? Jim, you've been here for 20 years, mate. Why'd you let the kid make you lose your cool? Like, you know better than that. Could you imagine the bosses, that his mates that he knows, they would all have that conversation with him. So that strength with self-control is very important. And that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to find the water in the cracks to get out of the problem without getting squished or getting bogged or getting stuck. Okay, so I'm going to give some biblical examples now of people who had strength and self-control. So we know the story of David and Saul. So David was anointed king before Saul stopped being king. His blessing was taken away from God, but he was still the king. He held the rank of king. And David showed that respect to him, to the point where David had an opportunity to kill him. So I don't know if you know the story, you probably do. You've probably been told it a million times, but I'll say it again anyway. He was in a cave with his men. Saul went into the cave because Saul had been chasing David, chasing him around the countryside, chasing. He wanted to kill David. It wasn't like he was chasing him just to give him a slap on the wrist. He wanted to kill him. So there was a vendetta against him. He wanted him dead because he was jealous of him. So David had the right to kill him. Like, if you think about it, if someone's going to kill you, you can say, well, it's him or me. Isn't that right? Like, David could have even said that. It's him or me. He's throwing spears at my head. Look, I'm no David. If he threw a spear at my head, he'd be dead. Sorry. Like, I'd be dead trying to kill him because I probably wouldn't be quick enough. My belly's a bit fat. But, I'd at least threaten him. I wouldn't be smart about it. But David was wise. He had wisdom. He had the heart of God. That's what was said about David. So in this opportunity, Saul had been chasing him, and then there were caves in the mountain. David and his men were hiding in the mountain, and they said, "This is our opportunity, David. We can kill the guy. Guy's dead." He said, "Don't touch him." And he goes, "No, we can kill him. Don't touch him." So the reason why Saul went in there is he had to go to the toilet. Now, he's caught with his pants down, like literally caught with his pants down. So he can kill him because he's in a position of weakness. So what did David do? He went to him and he cut a piece of his cloak, and he took it and he disappeared back in the darkness. As Saul, like, you think you could leave it at that, right? And at a later time, you can tell Saul, "Look what I did." But no, David's bold. He said, as Saul was leaving the cave, he went out of the cave and said, "King Saul, I've got a piece of your cloak. I was behind you. I could have killed you, but I didn't. I'm showing you that I don't want to kill you. So stop trying to kill me." You see, the same as the situation with my mate, say Jim, right? he can mop the floor with this lady. Like, he mopped the floor with this lady, but he's choosing not to. He's going to go and try and deal with it in a way where he lifts her up. David did the same thing. So I could say Jim has the heart of God as well, because he's not, as much as he can destroy her, he's not going to do that. So turning the other cheek is not necessarily just about just taking it on the face. It's about using wisdom, self-control, and good character and strength with self-control to try and shape your reaction. Okay? I'll give you another example. Actually, I'll insert a story about me, because it's so I've done this 3 times, so I'll just summarize it into one story. There's a lady, there's a guy called Tom King. There you go. Thomas King. He's Asian, so his name's obviously not Thomas. It's probably Ching Ching or something. I don't know. Ching Ching King is his name. Anyway, let's call him Tom, just keep his name secret. He had this really brilliant idea of doing an IT thing that wasn't brilliant, and someone employed me to execute on that. So I think I got off on the wrong foot by asking, what idiot wanted to put this in the cloud? I was just asking a question, right? Unfortunately, it was this guy, Tom, and Tom was the CIO of the organization. So no wisdom, mouth running off before the handbrake could go up. That's typical Tad. If you know me, I just blah, blah, blah. Oops, sorry. I'm apologizing every time I talk. So anyway, from that point onwards, he drove me like a kalb, like a dog. He actually whipped me like a donkey. Every meeting, he would make me feel so little. He would tell me off. He would say, why isn't it moving fast enough? And it was a very difficult thing to do. It's like taking an old car and trying to put an electric motor in it, but the car's so falling apart that you can't make it work. But he asked me to do that with some software and put it in the cloud. It was difficult, right? So we really worked hard to try and make it proper. So I complained bitterly about this Tom guy. Everyone I could speak to, I said, this Tom guy's treating me badly. And I was not justified in a godly way. I was justified in complaining, because even people after meetings would come and apologize to me. And I go, what are you apologizing for? I said, the way Tom treated you. It wasn't very nice in that meeting, was it? Because you would just mop the floor with me, right? So I felt an Andy hat. I've got this right to complain, And I was just bad. Like, I'm just telling you, I was being bad about it. And I complained to, I think it was Abuna Augustinus or one of the priests at my church. I was traveling with him a lot. And he goes to me, what's the problem here, Tad? What's the issue? I go, this guy, he picked this job, and the job's dumb, and he's getting me to do it, and he doesn't like me, and he's whipping me hard, and he's going, do they pay you money? I went, yeah, pay me money. He goes, well, aren't you paid to do the job? I go, yeah, when you put it like that, yeah, I'm paid to do the job. He goes, well, what are you complaining about? Well, I just don't like the way he's telling me to do the job. He goes, it sounds silly, Tad. Be wise. Be smart. Wake up to yourself. The guy's the boss. If he wants to paint the whole house green, paint it green. What do you care what color it is? Like, you have an opinion about the color, but it's not your house. He wants to do this. Let him do it. So I wasn't being strong, wise, or clever. So we have the absolute ability of doing that every time we have a confrontation. Every time. The second one was, there's lots. I've got lots of these stories. I just keep making mistakes over and over again. So at least I don't mind talking about them, and I pray that I learn from them, Lord, please. The second one is, I had this lady, and I didn't want to make it sexist, like it was a lady or a guy or whatever. No, there's a guy first and the lady second. Her name is, no, you never met her. She lives in Queensland. Diana. Anyway, I can't remember her name. She's a nice lady. But she didn't like me for some reason in regards to, she did the job that I did before I did it. And then every time she had a meeting with anybody, she would say, when we did that meeting, when we did that job, we used to do it like this. And when we did that job, we used to do it like this. Like to the point where I'd just roll my eyes and people would see me in the meeting rolling my eyes going, lady, you're not doing the job anymore. You're doing something else completely different. It's like she never wanted to leave the job, but she was being promoted or she moved somewhere else or she did something else, right? But she just wanted to hang on to the point where I don't think she liked my reaction. So then she got angry with me and she used to like complain to the bosses about me. So then I started complaining to the boss about her. So I said to my boss, I said, this lady, she talks to me rudely. I don't like it. I'm not happy. So my boss is a South African. He was a South African, my boss at this job. He was a old white South African guy. Very wise. He had Christian morals, but he wasn't a practicing Christian. But he was a very nice guy. So he was on a. It was during COVID, so we were on a face call thing, whatever, the Teams meeting. He says to me, "Hey, let me complain for like 5 minutes." And he's smiling the whole time like this. He looks at me and says, "What is this problem that you have with Diane?" I went, "What's this problem that I have with Diane? It's the problem that she has with me." So I started arguing with him. He goes, "Tad, how old are you?" I went, "Oh, well, I'm older than I should be." And he goes, "Okay, so be bigger than this. You can be bigger than this." Like she's obviously feels that she did a good job and she maybe wants you to say that. You left it in a great place or whatever. He taught me wisdom. He said to me, be smart. Like if you do that, she'll leave you alone. Anyway, I took his advice. And after 4 years, it took 4 years, on my last day when I left, she became my pay manager. She was signing off my pay. She wrote an email like, I couldn't believe she wrote the nicest things I've ever read. No one's ever written an email like this about me before. He did this and he did this and he did this. It was like humble pie. The Lord turned my other cheek by working for me. So, I had an opportunity there where someone who's not necessarily a practicing Christian, I'm a practicing Christian, kicked me in the backside and said, Tad, you can be bigger than this. You should be bigger than this. Do you see the opportunity I had? So turning the other cheek is missing out on that opportunity of being a bigger person than I act out to be. All right. So the last story. I'll do a biblical one. There's two. There's Joseph and Moses. So we know the story of Joseph. He completely got stuffed up by being thrown in a hole. His brothers were really nasty to him. He wasn't very wise. Like you could see it as not being wise in his righteousness, but, really that he didn't deserve what he got. And in the end, when he did meet them in Egypt, he cried bitterly and he didn't treat them the way they deserved to be treated. So he learned how to turn the other cheek in a big way, to the point where, he understood God's plan in him being put through what he got put through. And he never lost hope in God all the way through. So these characters in the Bible are really good for us to learn how to react to things that happen that are bad for us, or that we think are bad, right? Or things that are not happening in the way that I want it to happen. Because we have these expectations. The expectations are, I expect the teacher to treat my kid in a particular way. Why? Because he's my kid and I know he's very smart. But there's no wisdom in that. There's no wisdom in that, because what you're doing is you're setting an expectation, number one, for the teacher, which is none of your business. The teacher's the teacher and he teaches or she teaches. Number two, you're setting an expectation for the kid, which is not fair. And number three, you're showing how much of a dum-dum you are because you're not a teacher, right? So we do that, but I do that, you know. But did you know Zacchaeus or Zach? He's a good kid. What's wrong with him? Yeah, but he needs some tutoring. Don't say my kid needs tutoring. He's smarter than you, sir. Like, you see, like we really get defensive when things don't go our way. But people like Joseph, things went south badly, very badly. But the way he reacted when he met his brothers was honourable. Although he played that little game with them of sending them and doing whatever, he just wanted to see his dad in the end. He didn't want to hurt them. He made out that they were going to suffer in pain, but he didn't throw them in a pit. But you can tell the difference between Joseph and his brothers, because do you remember what happened when Israel died, or when Israel died, his father? So when his father died, what did the brothers say? What were the brothers scared of? Can you remember? No? So I'll tell you. It's probably easier. Oh, can anyone remember? Yes, exactly. Isn't that funny? After all that time and giving them land and feeding them and treating them nicely and allowing them to live in Goshen, which is the best part of Egypt, and blah, 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 then Jacob dies and they're saying, oh, maybe he's going to kill us now. It just shows you the difference in character. Joseph had to say to them, I won't kill you. It's okay. Don't be scared. Take it easy. You see? So that in itself is strength and self-control, because he had the right for what they did to him to actually destroy them. He could have kept the peace for his dad and then mopped the floor with all of them, but he didn't. He was strong, wise, and he had a lot of self-control. Right? So we need to take examples of these characters in the Bible because they're fantastic. They really are put there. Like everyone goes, oh, Joseph and the Amazing Jericho, what a kid story. But no, it's an adult story. It's for me and you. It's definitely for me. Okay. So how turning the other cheek and forgiveness are linked. So turning the other cheek, as we discussed, is using strength and wisdom and self-control. Forgiveness is not letting what others do to me weigh me down. What does that mean? When I forgive someone who's done something wrong to me, like whoever, you know, my husband might have said this to me, or he came late that day, or my wife, you know, didn't show me, you know, respect in front of my friends. It's something silly, right? How do I forgive and show and not let that pull me down? What I do is I'm quick to forgive. The feeling that I have will be negative. That's just human nature, because I don't want to be treated like that or whatever. But I can make excuses for the person if I love them. And I can say, look, a bit tired. I haven't been home this week. I've been doing something for Carols, or I've been working hard serving Abuna. Abuna's asked me to do something, whatever. I can just make excuses for them. And then forgiving them for what they said because they're not in a good space. Then I won't react badly and it won't cause me pain. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if it's someone that is an enemy, that is always treating me badly. So we have those people, like maybe it could be a cousin or a relative or a person that, you know, just doesn't like me, whatever. if I continue to do what I did at work, for instance, or what my mate Jim does at work, it burdens me down. It holds me down. Why? Because I don't let go of the problem using forgiveness. So turning the other cheek and forgiveness is linked, because my reaction should be a positive one and a wise one. And then I should learn how to forgive them so that it doesn't drag me down when I'm sitting there quietly thinking about nothing. Because that's what happens. Normally, if I sit there, the devil tries to say, hey, how about that person that did that to you? How about? And then you get dragged down in your thoughts. So we need to learn that turning the other cheek and forgiveness are a very, very closely tied unit, and we need to use them together. And then how do we know that turning the other cheek is an opportunity for God to correct me? Well, I'll tell you, in my situation, especially at work, I'll give you the last scenario. I was working, actually I'm working there right now, working at Westpac. And there's a lady, let's call her Kim. There you go, Kim. That's a good name. Just remind me what her name is, because I know what her real name is. So Kim, when I joined the company, I even noticed when we were doing an interview, we did an interview on the phone, because I was interviewing from someone from Adelaide and I was interviewing with someone from Sydney, which was her. And Kim was sort of pushy and a bit asking lots of questions and poking. And the other guy from Adelaide, he was a nice guy. He was like very positive and, oh, you're going to make a good change here and blah, blah, blah. I'm going, well, I don't work for that guy. I don't work for her. Anyway, I turn up to the office and I'm reporting to her. Now, I just go, this lady's grumpy. And the funny thing is, I started on the same day as a mate that I'd worked with before. His name was Stan. This is his real name. So Stan said, like, I just kept it to myself. I didn't want to get in trouble. It's a new job, first 3 months, blah, blah, blah. But she was like savage. She would say things like, that's wrong, do it again. So, okay. So I go and do it again. Like, no. And then I overheard her on the phone say, which was funny, she said, these guys, they get paid all this money and they can't count. And I'm sitting next to Stan and I looked at Stan and I said, Stan, that's me. She's talking about me. Because she was looking at a spreadsheet and the numbers were wrong. And I made a mistake. Okay, I made a mistake. Anyway, me and Stan went out for coffee and we had a good chinwag that day. Oh man, she's a cow, moo moo, blah, blah, blah. We really went to town, No wisdom there. I wasn't being a David. I wasn't being a Joseph. I wasn't being anyone like that. I was just letting her have it. And we were going for it, hard. Anyway, this is going on for months. It was going on for I think I've worked there for 6 months. I think it happened for 4 months, 4 or 5 months. About a month ago, God put me in my place. I'll tell you how. So I'm sitting there waiting for a call to start. You got your headphones on and you're just waiting for a call to start. And no one's dialing in and you're just going, do, 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 do. And she thought I was on a meeting. So she was talking to someone on the phone. And she says, I need a transcript of my kids' educational stuff because I'm going to take him to TAFE and see if he can get free education from TAFE. And then someone's talking on the other side of the phone, obviously, and then she goes, look, he's eligible for the free education because my husband is in the Department of Veteran Affairs. Department of Veteran Affairs. That means that he was in the Army or the Navy or the Air Force or something, and DVA is if you've had an injury, either physical or psychological or whatever, the DVA looks after you. They pay you money for the rest of your life. So I'm going, oh, so she has a husband who has either a mental or physical issue and she's trying to get free education for a kid. Okay, fair enough. That's all right. I'm sitting there thinking, that's not good. But it didn't end there. Then she goes, no, I'm not bringing him I'm not bringing my son to school before 10 o'clock. And I'm not going to let him stay there till after 2. Oh, here she goes. She's getting a bully again. Because he's being bullied badly and it's been really bad and he's had suicidal thoughts. I'm not doing that. And I went, oh, Tad, you're an idiot. So dumb, Tad. You see my opportunity? My opportunity is to be edifying, to be loving, to be caring. But instead, me and Stan are having a chinwag about how the cow's picking on me, right? Not nice, right? So people are going through stuff. People are suffering. My job is to be merciful. My job is to be kind. My job is to be edifying, even if they are not. Makes no difference. That's turning the other cheek. That's actually, look, if I didn't see it like that and I thought, no, she deserves it. And I've heard people say that. She deserves that pain because of the way she treats people. That's karma getting her. No, that's rubbish. That's garbage. Everyone has pain. And if you do not treat the pain the same way that Christ treated the pain, you're not a Christian. I'm sorry, you can't be. Because we are Christians, we are Christ-like. When Christ saw pain, he healed the wounds. He even healed wounds and he didn't even know he healed them. The bleeding woman, who took power from me? Your faith made you well. He stopped the men from stoning a woman. He gave them the law. They dragged this woman in front of Jesus to stone her and said, hey, teacher, you know the law. What are you going to do about it? Like I would have said, I gave Moses the law, you twit. What's wrong with you? I gave him the law. I can rewrite the law. But Jesus didn't do that. He wanted their salvation as well as her salvation. So he said, well, whoever sinned first, throw the first stone. Abuna Org said today, actually, he was talking about that. He said, because he has this little thing, 5 to 7 mass in the morning at St. Mark's. It's okay, I know it's really far away. But, you know, one day maybe if you guys are lost and you're St. Mark's, come. He has a meeting after it with all the youth, and I think I'm a youth, so I hang out with them. And wow, you guys are laughing way too hard. I dye my beard grey. Come on, guys. This is wisdom. So anyway, he said today, he believes, I could imagine that story, how they would have seen their souls and the sins on their souls in front of their face. And they couldn't condemn her. They couldn't. And then when he asked the question, where are your condemners? I said, oh, they're gone. He said, well, neither do I condemn you, but sin no more. Can you see Christ, what he does? I'll give you another example. This is what I should have done with, what was her name again? Kim. What I should have done with Kim. So you remember the story of the Samaritan woman. So the Samaritan woman was like, she's a bit rude. You know, she's challenging Jesus. Once again, Jesus could have mopped the floor with her, but he didn't. He just was being very nice about it. And then after she's convinced that he has the living water, give me this water, he goes, well, go get your husband. So what does she say? She says, I have no husband. Now, at that point, I would have called the BS flag and said, listen, lady, you have 5 husbands that left you, and the one you've got isn't your husband. But he didn't do that. You see the kindness that he showed? He said, in this you spoke truth. Can you see how he forgives? I'm the challenger. I'm the one that wants to challenge her and say, no, you're wrong. Da, 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 da. He goes, in this you spoke truth. The one you have is not your husband, and the 5, because you had 5 before were your husbands. That flipped her. Like it flipped her. Why? Because of the kindness that he showed and the love that he showed. That's what I'm saying. When we can be like him, we can be like Christ, that's actually a much better option. And really, it is the only way to be. All right. I think I've gone on for too long. So just to wrap up, turning the other cheek is not being stepped on. It's strength with wisdom and self-control. We should have hand in hand turning the other cheek and forgiveness so that we can strengthen our resolve against sinning, against doing the wrong thing. And we should always look to the stories in the Bible, especially the Old Testament, but especially Christ, because Christ shows us the ultimate way in being forgiving and to also, even to the point of death. The last things that he said on the cross, he said, forgive them because they don't know what they do. How nice is that? So he's the greatest example of that. So if you have the right, and I did a similar talk like this to the youth a few months ago, and I used the word hat. If you think you have the hat is like the right, isn't that right? Is that I have the right. But it's such an ugly word. Hat. It's like you're spitting your right onto someone's face, So if you think you have the right, put the right aside and try and think from the other person's perspective. And I really think that you will turn the other cheek more because of it. And then you'll show mercy more because of it. And you will love your enemies because of it. So hopefully you got something out of this, and any glory be to God forever. Amen. Any questions? I actually like it when there's none, because it means I can start my long trek.
Sorry to disappoint.
No.
I've got one here, but these scenarios...
Can you ask it on my phone while I'm driving? No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. We'll do video call. Yeah, go ahead.
I love how you forgave Kim and you called her a prostitute pretty much by calling her a Samaritan woman.
Oops. I didn't mean that. I
wanted to point that out.
Okay, that's a statement. You're making a statement.
Yeah.
I didn't say that about Kim. Kim was lovely. Kim's a lovely
but this is not
lady.
my question, sorry.
Okay, good. But I'm glad you pointed it out. Show more forgiveness, Tad.
That's it, yeah. You could have likened her to Ruth or anybody else.
No,
you chose the
Ruth.
Samaritan woman, I'm just saying.
I love the Samaritan woman. Anyway, keep going. Thank you. Yeah.
So let's, so with the examples you gave, it seems like to turn the other cheek from a position of power is easier. I mean, you mentioned Joseph. He's second in charge after Pharaoh. Easy for him to turn the other cheek because he's in control. But it's harder for someone who, in your example, if your job was, dependent on this person being nice to you, it's harder to turn the other cheek because you feel threatened. I could lose my position, but Joseph wasn't threatened. So in that sense, it's like David with Saul. He was in a position of power. He was behind him. Saul wasn't looking at him. It's easier to turn the other cheek and forgive someone when you've got the upper hand. But it's harder to turn the other cheek when you've got the position of disadvantage.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. The problem is that if you don't turn the other cheek, then you put yourself in the position of power, because you then try and take control of the situation by pushing your rights above the other person's right. Does that make sense? So just because Joseph was in power, it didn't mean that he couldn't execute on his power, but he didn't. If anything, he showed more restraint than I would, because I have no power. He has power to destroy. He could bury them in the sand and no one would ever know they existed. It's the other way around. I think what we should do is, if we control ourselves to the point, even if I lose my job, I was saying about my mate, what's his name? Jim. I said to him, what are you worried about? He goes, I might lose my job. And I said, and don't you think God will have another one for you? Oh, but maybe not. I said, yeah, but maybe yes. Maybe 18 years is enough. Maybe because you've been there for so long, you'll get 12 months worth of pay and you can think about the job you get next. Or you can become a contractor. Like, he's not thinking, you see, the position of power that he has is much bigger than he imagines, because he's worried about this little girl. So he's now putting himself in a negative position by letting that girl twist him around. But he's in a bigger, he has more money than her, more wisdom than her, is more employable than her, can probably apply for a job in the same organization and get it, right? He doesn't see any of that. All he sees is the problem. And that's what we do. We see the problem and then we get hooked into the problem and then we fight. We're like fighting a battle inside a tiny square and wondering why there's no room. And it's getting heated and it's hot and then it just becomes messy. But we need to just hold back, step back, and look at it bigger. He actually said to me, he goes, his son's an actuary, like someone who does banking and whatever. When I said to him, Bass, what's his name? Jim.
That was a close one.
His name is not Bass, all right? When I said to him, Jim, damn it. That's the danger of using real people, right? Anyway, we know who it is now. I know you don't know him anyway. You've never met him before. And if he turns up at this church, don't say I said anything about him, right? If he ever comes, all right? Oh, don't you guys, I'll pay money. He's going to kill me. Anyway, I said to Bass about the money thing. I said to Jim about the money thing. Huh? Oh, crap. And I said crap too. Sorry, Abuna. And Jesus. This is going to get deleted after this, right? Wow. Am I never getting invited again? Because that's... Tell Nagy what I did, because I don't want to... Anyway. Yeah, that's right. And so does Jim. Yeah, remind him, please. Anyway, so I was talking about the money thing, and he said to me, funny you should say that. My son said that. My son said, do you know what you have? You have all of this, and you're worried about this? So it's his son. So can you see the position of power that we give up because we get stuck winning this position of power, which is foolish. There's no wisdom in it at all. Like there's no, because you're saying that, but I'm stronger. Yeah, well, this guy's stronger, but he's stuck in the problem. He needs to step back and look at the problem from a different angle, a different perspective. I can do so much more. I could be promoted 5 times up, but I'm just not looking at it like that. Like he's very good at what he does, but he just doesn't want to be promoted. Like, okay, well, maybe that wasn't wise. Did you see what I'm saying? When you make decisions thinking you're doing the right thing, sometimes it backfires. He even said when this lady got the job, he went, oh, this is going to be a bumpy ride. He knew. So if he knew, then he could have done something about it. Like, he sort of went, oh, no. It's sort of we make our own beds with this stuff all the time. Like, what did I call the lady at work? Thank God. Oh, no. Oh, this is live, but, oh, yeah, no, that's good. Thanks for the point out right now at the end. Should have told me at the beginning. I would have used examples. I would have just kept my mouth shut. Anyway.
For the right price, you can be deleted.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll be throwing money. Kim, like, I'm a contractor. I'm expendable. Look, I've been a contractor for 30 years. People go, how do you live with the fear of losing your job? And it's like, well, God gives me money. Like, well, what attitude should I have towards this? Like, is my career and my job my identity? He's my identity. So if I make him my identity, then he'll give me a job. If I make him my identity, he'll feed my family. If I make him my identity and he takes my kids away, they're his kids. If I give him my identity and he makes my kids successful, they're his kids. Like, I can make it his problem because he's my identity. Get it? So that's our position of power. So why wouldn't we follow it. But when we think, sorry, I'm not saying this in a negative way, but we think in a worldly way. We think, well, it's easy to say that, but, what about my job? It's like, what about your job? Do you think God will let you? No, he might for a reason. I knew a lady who was obsessed with money, like ridiculously. And she was an older lady, and I was looking after her. Anyway, she ended up getting a kidney disease, so she had to have dialysis. And it was funny. She said to me, she goes, I have so much money in the bank. I can't even go on a cruise. I have kidney disease and I have to have dialysis. I have so much money in the bank and a brand new car sitting at the front, and I can't even drive it because I get dizzy and my eyes are going funny because of the glaucoma or whatever. She would pull out her wallet and say, Tad, look at my wallet. I haven't even got 5 cents in there. And I go, yeah, but you've got so much money in the bank. She goes, God's teaching me a lesson. Money's not my God. He's my God. See how God washes stuff away, sometimes in pain. Like having kidney disease is not nice for anybody. Dying of it is not nice, but dying of it and getting rid of a God that I had before. And that's what we do. We replace God with work and with position and with money and with power. I'm not saying that you're doing that, but I do it. I do it with everything. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Are you sure? Because I don't want to stay here any longer.
It'd be good to know for future maybe talks. How do we communicate to kids that concept? I mean, I for one, we're trying to help this kid who got bullied at school. True story.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call out the kid's name at all, just in case I get it by mistake, But loves handball. Kids who he plays with in that school don't want him to play, so they all pick on him so he can go out first. So his turn ends up being really short, and he got bullied. Now, how do you then communicate to this child, like, just turn the other cheek? It's his favorite sport, and he has the right to play it, but in a very conniving, naive, way, they managed to get him out of the game without doing anything wrong. At the same time, it's morally not wrong because they didn't give him a proper chance because they all picked on him. So how do you communicate to a child?
Look, when it comes to kids, it's about resilience. That's the only thing I've got to say, is this world is not for them. Like, this world is not designed for us at all. Like, it's not built for us. Our home is heaven, not here. And we need to teach them that. We need to say that people are not going to be nice, but that doesn't mean you don't be nice. If they're playing a game and you don't get to play, okay, go find another game to play, or find another bunch of friends who are not as good as them and play with them. Teach them how to play. Like, give him another way to expend his energy in a positive way, as opposed to being not complaining, but because he has a right to complain, but complaining about what he's not getting. Because if you turn that into a positive thing, then all of a sudden he might have a team that's better than this team. And then they go, "Oh, can we compete against you?" He goes, "No." Walks away. Like, that's not turning the other truth as revenge. But you know what I'm saying? Like flip it into something that's positive. Say to him, "Well, why don't you find someone else and teach them how to play handball?" Or, you know what I'm saying? Or
that's the thing. It's usually misunderstood as being a point of weakness, not strength.
Yeah, got it.
Like, you turn the other cheek, and then everyone goes, "Oh, that's
no." But strength and wisdom in that situation is finding another way, not trying to fix the problem, because that's not going to get fixed. You can't. You've got 4 or 3 other people in the handball thing. What are we going to do? Are we going to start judging them and saying, "Guys, you're all doing the wrong thing"? You can. It might fix it for one game, but then you walk away and then it'll just be pushed away again. So you find, with wisdom, you find another thing. You redirection. Redirection is the best way. It's the best way with kids. That's what I believe, because my kids come to me and say, "He's a better drummer than me." It's like, okay, well, play guitar. But I like drums. Okay, well, then practice harder. Like, I can't. What, do you want to make him a bad drummer? Like, what do you want me to do? He never lets me have a go at the drums. It's like, okay, well, why don't you I don't know, play a game. Say, "Hey, you have 5 minutes and I have 5 minutes. Let's see who plays faster." Or you really try and redirect it so that it's something different. So it's not about the problem, it's about changing the perspective on it. You know what I mean? Hopefully that answers your question. Anyway, this is live, really? It's so bad. Right. Please delete it, please. Anyway, is that enough? Is that all the questions? All right. If Buna Thomas is around, please say hello to him for me. Oh, one more. Okay.
Sorry, this is probably a heavy question.
Go hard.
I feel like there's a balance between turning the other cheek to not be taken advantage of anymore, and then also between like you should stand up and say something, because even if Christ is the role model for us, even at some point when they were spitting on him and they hit him, they say, "Why do you do what you do?" So like there's a like obviously taking it is good, but to some degree I feel like you can say something to some degree. So I feel like there's just wisdom there, but it's just deciphering.
You can highlight that things are wrong. Like there's nothing wrong with saying, "No, that's not right." Like there's nothing wrong with that. And again, it's not about being a doormat. It's not about being walked over. That's not about that. It's about your reaction. So in the situation where Christ was being slapped, there was two reactions he could have had. He could have brought legions of angels down to destroy the molecules that existed as humans. Or he could have said, "Why did you slap me? What did I do wrong?" Like, that's a very reserved and restrained, another position of power, restrained reaction to a very violent action. They were pulling his beard out, like they were slapping him. Like, if you really want to imagine how bad it is, imagine you created them and then your creation rebelled against you. They're ants in an ant farm, and they're rebelling against you as ants. And they think they're hurting you, which they are. They're hurting you because they want to hurt you. And you can crush the ant with your shoe, but you don't. But you can ask them, "Why are you doing the wrong thing?" There's nothing wrong with that. And that's what I said at the beginning. This is not an excuse for people to walk over you. It's not an excuse to not believe there's pain, to ignore the pain. Pain exists, but it's your reaction to that. And that's the thing that we need to control, our reaction to it. That's turning the other cheek. Turning the other cheek is our reaction to it, not calling it out. Call it out. But don't call it out and say, "And you're a piece of blah, blah, blah," and then go for it. Oh, we're live, sorry. Can't say what I was going to say. Does that answer your question, though? All right, no worries. All right, thanks, guys. I'll take my shoes and run. I've got to go back.
No, thank you so much for the
Thanks.
wonderful
No,
talk.
no.
We'll just quickly stand up and
Oh, yeah.
say Our Father. Through the intercessions of Saint Barbara and Saint Ebenezer and all the saints, please, O Father, hear us when we say, "Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, for thine is the kingdom, power, the glory forever."